Okay, we're reconvening the meeting of November 16th. This is a reconvened meeting because we were so rudely disrupted by the the power outage. But we are here at the Guam Election Commission building here in Tumuning, Guam. And so Maria, you want to just continue on with the old business, section E?
So we were down, we finished all the way up to 7D. So now we're at E, the Guam Have Estate Plan. So I've announced before that our aim is to try to update it by 2025. On F, our election manual update, we are working on it as we speak, and we will continue to work on it. We hope to finish it by March of 2024.
Any questions from the commissioners? Okay, let's move on then to new business, modernizing election process.
Okay, it was requested by the commission at the last meeting that this be put on the agenda and continue to leave it on as to where we are with this. We're working on it.
So is there a plan or process that will be presented at some point?
So one of the things, yes, and one of the things, sir, that we want to ask about is what we put on the website. In the past, the thoughts of the consensus of the commission was not to put like the campaign finance on forms on the website. So we would like to know what the feelings of the commission is. Most, I guess, immediately it's not going to be today, but what we can put on the website. And one of that is the candidate packet. If you remember, the consensus of the commission in the past is to leave it off the website, have them come in and sign out for it. So that's one of the things. With the voter roster, the commission has seen a presentation from Knowing, and we continue to look into that. I'm up to updating our budget narrative. If you remember, we haven't received our fiscal year 22 and 23 funding from the Election Assistance Commission because of our complication with the systems award management. We've since cleared that, and instead of going right away and submitting what we had for fiscal year 2022, I asked our point of contact at EAC to wait and let me update it. And part of that update was to look into what we want to do with modernizing the election process, whether we go with the Knowing, whether we go with an additional tabulation equipment, and that will of course be brought forward to the commission.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Yes, Vice Chair.
Maria, thank you. I appreciate the work that you guys are doing on this. And as you move forward towards modernization, right, moving towards all of that, may I ask that you, the team, and legal counsel, especially when it comes to the website and the forms, that the language, the design, anything on the website is reviewed by legal counsel to ensure that there isn't language in there that might be misinterpreted as discriminatory or, voter, what is it called when we don't include them? Disenfranchised. Just to ensure that the website conforms to law, any potential laws that we have out there that requires that's ADA compliant, et cetera. So that's just moving forward, and we should always be mindful with that, Maria. Have legal counsel review all our forms to ensure that the language is conforming to law, doesn't discriminate, ADA compliant, everything that we need to be aware of. And that's just to minimize potential litigation. All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I think if this is going to be a standing item on the agenda, I think it'd be good to put what the plan is. What do we mean? For the public to understand what modernizing the election would mean and what it entails. So transparency, all of these different things. It covers many, many aspects. Okay. Let's then move on to legal counsel's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's nothing new to report with regard to the case involving Guam Society of Obstetrics and Gynecologists versus the AG. They're still in the briefing stages.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, let's go to public comment. And I'd just like to recognize Vice Chair Alice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We can make this a part of public comment, I hope. Unfortunately, this is going to be my last meeting with the Guam Election Commission. As a condition of my new employment, I have to resign my position here and my involvement with the Guam Election Commission. I want to thank Maria, your team, for the outstanding work you have done for what has it been 11 years? 12 years. 12 years. Probably just as long as I've served, I think.
Ma'am, you hired me.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Probably the second best decision I've made, yeah. Marrying my wife was the first decision, yeah. So, but I sincerely thank you and the team. You guys have done an outstanding job through the years. Every election, never perfect, but better each and every time. Voter experience, phenomenal. So, and I enjoy and I like the fact that Maria is never confined just to Guam. She constantly reaches out to our brothers and sisters in the north and do whatever we can to include them and help them along the way as well. So I appreciate that, and please let the team know. I apologize, it was last minute. To the commissioners, thank you so much. I think I've served with Pat probably the longest, and Jerry and Joe, right? And so I want to thank you all for your support, our camaraderie. We represent different parties, but whenever it comes down to the decision to be made, it's always what is fair, what is right, and what is just for our voters. And that's just amazing considering things that are going on in this day and age with politics, right? So I appreciate you all. I'm going to miss the work that we do. I'm going to miss you all. You all have my number in case there's something else outside of, you need to get a hold of me. Please call me anytime. Jerry, please give Vince our best. Thank you so much to our legal team for always guiding us and minimizing litigation. I do have a question now that I will be leaving. Will my name not be included anymore? Because my name is probably in all the lawsuits for the last 12 years. So I appreciate you all. So I just wanted to all say thank you very much. Thank you all for your service and your honor. Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to, on behalf of the commission, again, express our heartfelt and deepest appreciation to our vice chair. She served as chair and as vice chair for many years. And like she mentioned, Republicans and Democrats, but this board or this commission has worked well, especially during gubernatorial elections, off-election years. I don't want to forget our independent member because he does represent an independent party. But we want to wish Alice the very best. We look forward to her continued guidance as we go through this other election. But I want to open up, give the commissioners an opportunity just to say a few words because she is a long-serving commission member for the Guam Election Commission. And we want to recognize her leadership and her contributions to us.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So I'll go next. Alice, thank you so much for all that you have done for the people of Guam. This is a perfect example of Republicans and Democrats working together and getting things done. I think this speaks volumes in terms of your leadership as well. You were the chairperson when I first came in, and vice, and then chair, and then vice. So We have moved the ball forward, down to the goalpost, and we've done it good times and in bad times. And your style of leadership, again, has really shined through with the commission. Maria, the staff, everyone that is connected to the operation acknowledges that, you know, the Guam Election Commission does a fantastic job. What they don't know is all the hard work that you have put in behind the scenes. You have proffered so many great initiatives, and have, just listening to you here at the commission, I've learned a lot. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart. The Republican Party thanks you as well.
How to do that eventually, yeah. Alice, we have served together a long time, and, you know, I have joked about this, but there's a very strong element of truth that you should take this act on the road. I think about what's happened in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, so many states where the voting people cannot get along, the commission, you know, the parties are at each other's throats. Guam is a model for how elections should be run, how election commissions should be managed and operated. And really, and that comes from the chair, because it trickles down, and the willingness, as Commissioner Benny said, the willingness to work together with people across the aisle, or with the very sizable independent group, it pays off. And we should be proud of that, and you should be proud. That's a huge accomplishment. We've had peaceful elections, and when there have been disputes, they've been resolved the way they're supposed to be resolved. And it really is a model for the country, if you think about it. And that's saying quite a bit. Well done. Okay.
Commissioner Joe?
Alice, thank you for your, being a member of the Guam Election Commission. I know that I learned a lot from you when I first came into this commission. I know that we go back a long way, and you did a lot for this commission. We might not be agreeable at times, but you make it known that everything has to be on the right track, and with that, I really appreciate that, and we really thank you, and we're going to miss you. So again, thank you for everything that you have done for this commission.
Okay, thank you everyone. Again, Vice Chair Alice, we're gonna miss you, but we're gonna be knocking on your door for some guidance. So let's move on. Any other public comments? We'll then move on to the next meeting. I just wanted to bring up an issue that came up, not an issue, but a recommendation, discussion with one of the commissioners to see if there's an opportunity to change the meeting time, the commission meeting time from, I guess, 5:30 to lunch hour, right, around 12:30. And I wanted to kind of throw that out to the commissioners. I'm not inclined to support that, only because our commission is so public focused. It requires public participation for us to administer the elections, and having the meetings after 5 allows maximum participation from the public to participate. That's why many boards and commission meetings are held after 5 to allow the public to participate. My recommendation is just to leave it as is, but I'll throw it to the commissioners and give your input on that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, am in agreement with your direction. I think it is important that the commission make ourselves available to the widest possible participation in our community. So with that, I support that we maintain our meeting at 5:30 in the evening. The other part about changing it to 12 in the afternoon is there are many people who might want to be interested, but that's their lunchtime. and, you know, they want to go in and enjoy their lunch. So I think that would reduce the amount of participation as opposed to keeping it at 5:30. So again, I support your comments 100%. Thank you.
Yeah, Jerry, when I first read that thing that you put out, I said, you know, this is not right for the public, really. And I support you 100% on what you have just said about keeping it at 5:30. The only obstacle that I was looking at is that if we go into that situation, we might be, I don't know, legal, you might be, correct me if I'm wrong, we might be sued, you know, and we don't want to be in that predicament where we have it at 12:30 and then the public is not, you know, in tune to what's happening here. So keeping it at 5:30, you know, give the public more time and more participation from others. So that's the reason why I disagree with that 12:30 deal. I don't want to get any more suit than what it is right now. Thank you.
Any other, Commissioner? Okay, so we're going to adjourn this meeting, and we'll convene the December 21st meeting at 6 p.m. In the evening in a few minutes, right? So this meeting of November 16th is hereby adjourned. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Pinala to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mafinas. All those in favor, say aye. Okay. Motion passes. The meeting of November 16th is therefore adjourned. Until 6 p.m., December 21st. Approval of the agenda. Has everybody looked over the agenda items?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Penala to approve the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Seville. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, approval of the minutes of November 16th, regular meeting.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the minutes were not approved, were not prepared, and we were waiting for the
Conclusion
adjournment
of
of
that
today's
meeting.
meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's then move to correspondence.
Mr. Chair, we received an email, in the email, a letter from Senator Tello Taitigui asking for the financial disclosures submitted by members of the GVB. This was predicated by the public law, the budget law, that part of I think one of the administrative provisions was to require them to submit, to require the GV board to submit their financial disclosure statements.
And we responded to that already. Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chair, she did have a follow-up note asking if this met the requirements, and we conferred with legal counsel.
Okay, let's go to item B.
Mr. Jonathan Diaz's email is in the packet on page 9. It's for your review, sir.
Okay, in summary, what is Mr. Diaz requesting in this letter?
He mentions being a candidate for the congressional delegate, but he also mentions getting a job with us. So he tells us also about the presidential race and how his name would appear. And in the end, it was asking to change parts of the law to accommodate his candidacy.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, we should acknowledge the email and allow the executive director to respond accordingly.
Okay, yeah. So we'll acknowledge the message from Mr. Jonathan Diaz, and there will be a prepared response from the executive director. Okay, let's move on. Yes, Commissioner?
I know that we're gonna respond. Can legal look into these two as well?
Yes, we can look into it.
Thank you.
Yeah, because he has several points here. Okay. Okay, let's then move on to the executive director's report, item A, timeline.
So the timeline, as we do have a new format so that we show the activities for before the next meeting. And thank you, Commissioner Penala. We do want the approval of the primary election candidate packet for 2024. I believe in front of you, you have that. All we did was change the dates. And we changed it from Attorney General to Public Auditor. We also changed, it's not a gubernatorial, it's a mayoral race.
Yeah.
Sir, the timeline does say that we will begin to make these candidate packets available January 2nd.
So we would have to go ahead and approve these, right? Okay. Okay, any questions, comments?
I just one, Mr. Chair. So you're saying, Marietta, by January 2nd, any candidate that's running for any office, mayor or mayor, can pick it up? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
As early as January 2nd, yeah.
That's the earliest.
That's our practice from, yeah.
Okay. Item B, monthly voter by precinct.
Yes, we continue to grow with the, I do need a motion for the approval of the packet.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move a motion to approve the election packets for the Guam election, from the Guam Election Commission for the Guam election, Guam
2024.
Retirement Fund, as well as the nominating petitions for mayor and vice mayor.
Yeah. So there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Pinala. Is there a second to that motion to approve the candidate packet? Second by Commissioner Mapanas. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Just of note, Mr. Chair, that the availability of the Government of Guam Retirement Candidate Packet is still a little bit tentative, but as soon as we confer with the Government of Guam Retirement Fund Executive Director, I'll send you a note that it's going to be available at that time. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The monthly voter by precinct.
So on page 12, we are now at 55,576. And if you notice on page 13, we added 397 alone from motor voter. We took into consideration the death list submitted since October, and now we are again at 55,576.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, moving on to item C, the online motor voter registration. Yeah, I think you covered that, right?
Yes, already, sir.
Okay. Let's go then to item D, monthly financial report.
That starts on page 15. We're doing okay. Again, I'll repeat that we are working on updating the budget narrative for fiscal years 2022 and 2023 election security grant. As soon as we turn that in, and as soon as I sign off, we should be able to get that within a few days. I will submit the update to the budget narrative to the commission before I submit it. So that'll be at next month's meeting.
Any comments? Questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, included in the packet is the BBMR fiscal year budget documentation checklist. This was part of the budget that you're reviewing, or is this a separate item?
This dispensa, no, Commissioner Pinella, we have on the side, the long sheet, our draft budget request. For your perusal, we will submit a more final one in the January meeting. So if you have comments before that, we will submit for your approval in the January meeting our fiscal year 25 local appropriation request.
Thank you, that's the clarification I was looking for.
Any additional comments or questions on that? By the way, is there I was just looking at the budget, this proposed sheet. Is there a correction on this sheet? On the primary election on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024? Yeah. Okay. Okay, item E, Office of the Inspector General, U.S. Election Assistance Commission Audit Report.
I was hoping to submit my responses to EAC, our point of contact there, but because of all the happenings that we were doing, we will submit it before the next meeting, sir.
Excuse me,
Commissioner,
Mr.
yes.
Chair, when is the deadline for this?
We work very closely and constantly with EAC. They don't really give us a deadline, but we keep in contact we keep them abreast of our progress on the reports.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that we're,
Yeah.
not falling behind. But thank you for that.
For compliance, yep. Okay, let's move on then to the old business, campaign finance committee.
Sir, in our meetings when we went to do the courtesy visits with our visitors, one of the things we had mentioned with the legislature was the commission's wish to change the schedule of filing. I believe there are bills that were introduced after our agenda was published. So we hopefully will present that, and the public hearings won't happen until after our meeting in January. Sir, on another note, for the Campaign Finance Committee, our former vice chair was the chair of that Campaign Finance Committee with the esteemed independent member Pat Seville and yourself as the members of the committee. So we will need to get one more, and maybe when the new member comes in,
Yeah.
the commission can decide on the new membership.
Okay. All right, any comments, questions on that? Okay, let's move on to item B, Democratic Party of Guam, regarding the memorandum order.
So we had sent, after the last meeting, we had sent a response to them with regard to whether the resolution was something official, and if it is official, can we get signatures? We have not received a response since that letter. And that, what we sent to them, our follow-up response was together with the legal counsel. The legal counsel had looked at it with us.
So we essentially need a formal resolution from the party expressing their move to a closed primary
Actually, sir, amending their bylaws to
to
make-
reflect the
yeah,
closed primary.
that's right.
Mr. Chairman, also one more item too. The letter that we received the last time didn't have an official signature, so, we want to make sure that the documentation that they turn in is officially signed.
Signature,
Yes.
Yeah, I think we just need the formality. I know time, that the 2024 election is upon us, and I guess we're charged with drafting the rules and regulations for this potentially closed primary, which will require time and public education. So I guess the sooner we follow up with the party to.
Did you want me to send something out again, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Commissioner Moffitt, you have any?
Yeah.
to add? 'Cause
When was the response sent to the party and no response back?
It was after the second to the last meeting or the last meeting? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
It was the October meeting.
It's the second to the last
Yeah.
meeting. We did it together with the legal counsel.
And you suggesting that, excuse me, Mr. Chair, you're saying that we should send a follow-up on that?
Yeah,
I
there was
asked.
yeah. And it was essentially to request the party bylaws with signatures amending the provision that allow
Yeah.
for the closed primary based on the resolution that was passed by the state central.
The only reason why I asked that is that, we have to go through, and it's getting late at the game, so I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Anyway,
And it's going to take us time to put rules and because this is our first time we're going to hit
correct, that's
a
why.
closed primary. But I think in the meantime, while we're waiting for the party to respond, it'll be good to get how other jurisdictions conduct their closed primary. Many jurisdictions do this already, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
Our staff had started looking into it, sir.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, comments on that? Item B. Moving on to item C, the election manual update.
That's going on simultaneously with all the forms. We hope to complete that by February, sir.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Moving on to item D, the modernizing election process
So from the last, from the
from
meeting
our
that
November
we, yes,
16th meeting, yeah.
yeah, we will have a plan for you, and we will give you the ramifications of whether we get electronic poll books. And I think we need to address two things. If you remember, the forms, the candidate filing forms, do we put it on the website now? In the past, we shied away from putting it on the website. The second thing I think that the commission needs to decide is whether we go on the internet. Again, in the past, the consensus was we shy away from the internet. With e-poll books, any electronic poll book, we have to get on the internet. So
Yeah.
that's something that's the options we'll bring up when we start to discuss these things.
Okay, which raises all sorts of security.
Mr. Chairman, just a comment. So when we went to the NCLS in Indianapolis, Commissioner Muffness and myself was very lucky to have visited the Marion County Election Office. So there's security in place that other jurisdictions are using. In terms of the internet, they don't turn on the internet while the election process is going through that I'm familiar with. And again, the security or the cybersecurity would be very paramount that, we safeguard the election process. The modernization that we're proposing is modernizing from manual voting to electronic machine voting. Okay? As far as how that process will play out, it's going to take a lot more planning, and there's no time for us to do it for this election cycle. So we're kind of like focusing in the 2026 election cycle. The discussions we've had with some of the community members out there, to include the congressman and the speaker, is if we move forward with this initiative, it will take everybody to participate because laws will have to be changed to include and allow for electronic voting. We're also looking at redundancy in systems because you can't just have one machine, and think you're okay. You need to have a backup in case that a machine breaks down or power goes out or something. So there's got to be redundancy in the system. Third thing is training for staff. We got to make sure that our staff here at GCC gets fully trained. And the question always arises, like, how much is this going to cost us? Well, we don't know for sure, but if you take a look around, the United States and find a jurisdiction that has some of the same demographics that Guam has, we can get an idea. We're looking for the best practices, the best ways that other jurisdictions are doing electronic voting. That's what we want to emulate.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I think since this will be a standing agenda, I'd like to see if we can break this down to short-term and long-term, because short-term we can do a lot of transparency things quicker, with the goal of moving towards electronic voting, because that's going to require lobbying with the legislature to change laws. It's going to require many different aspects, and that's going to be a long term. I don't know if even 26 is possible, but if we can break it down to short-term goals, and then the long term is eventually, the goal is to get results to the voter, to the public, within a reasonable time frame after the polls close, and running a fair and accurate election if we go into the electronic mode. So,
Mr. Chairman, I will also mention that at the front end of this initiative, there's going to be a cost, no doubt. We're talking about new equipment, new processes, new training, and so forth. But in the long term, the efficiency will be realized in terms of how much we save money on election process, election time, voter time. So, I think the the goal again is to look long-term at how this process is going to play out. If we can accomplish, again, not this election cycle, but the next election, if we can accomplish that, it'd be great. But if we don't, again, we should just keep moving the ball forward until we reach our objectives. Thank you.
Commissioner Joe?
Yeah, the idea is very good here. I know that Commissioner Pinal is saying that maybe target date is 2026, but it's still kind of short term. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, you know, this is a good idea. It's a short process and everything else. But the thing that we need to educate here really is the legislature and all the other people that's going to be involved in here. We need to make sure that we sell this process so that they can agree with us and all that, because we need to change the law for one. And if we don't, then of course, you know, we're still going to go back to the same situation that we started all over again. And I know that we met with the senators, the speaker and the vice speaker, and I like it when they say we agree, but then when the time comes, something, you know, might just happen and say, hey, you know. And then when the funding comes to play, that's the obstacle that they're gonna look into and say, oh my goodness, this is how much it's gonna cost. So really, you know, we can continue doing this, but like you said, maybe in the long term, we can process and start working on it, but we need to educate our politician here. That's the main character here. Thank you.
Commissioner Pat?
You know, my fellow commissioners are giving good, sound advice on this, Mr. Chair. I know there's a lot of resistance, but I think the voter response to the electronic machines has been positive. If we get the bigger screens in the next generation, I think that's going to help the experience. And as Commissioner Mofna said, yeah, educating the legislature is really critical. I remember, God bless him, Commissioner Kin he was a dyed-in-the-wool paper ballot man. You know, he didn't like any kind of machines. But we've moved on, and the technology has moved on, the security, the reliability has really improved dramatically in the past, just since I've been on the commission. So, yeah, let's, I really encourage us to move forward on this and find federal money. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Mayor. Okay, so we have e-poll books on the agenda as an agenda item on purpose. We know that if we're going to use the e-poll books, it's going to be online. And one of the things that we want to tell you about the electronic poll books is it's going to help us with early voting, where it'll be live and we'll know if Pat Seville already voted, and if he tries to go to Malesut to vote again, it's instantaneous. What we want to tell you, what the staff and I want to tell you it is probable to implement e-poll books for the 2024 elections. That doesn't involve voting, it just involves the sign-in process. And because we've started early voting, the impetus to discuss this is, to discuss this was early voting. Jack convinced me that, hey, we can implement it. So we'll present to you next month what we found so far. And if you remember, I think Commissioner Benny, the four of you were there when No Ink presented to us. And a lot of the jurisdictions across the nation are using No Ink. Our current vendor for our tabulation equipment, they also have e-poll books, which our sister territory, Virgin Islands, uses. So we continue to look at, we're looking at that very in depth right now.
Mr.
comments
Chairman,
here?
just to add on to that, I think this is, again, appropriate for discussion, because there is going to be a need to transition from what we're doing today into the electronic method of election. So the e-poll books is part of that. As we move forward and people get more and more comfortable with it, I think the transition will get even better and a lot smoother, as opposed to trying to do this all in one shot. It'll be a shock to the system. So I'm support that we transition however we move forward, so that it allows time to look at the process, to address any issues, and to solve any problems that will be forthcoming.
Yes, yep, I agree. Because I know that, part of the concern with early voting, especially voting at the curbside, so at the Westin, you can drive up for curbside voting, but then the actual voting place is upstairs. And the concern from the parties, I think, was what stops that individual from voting and then going to park and then walking upstairs and voting, because Election Commission hasn't had time to cross your name out. I mean, we'll eventually catch it, but it's a legitimate concern, and I think the e-poll vote would prevent something like that from happening. Yeah, so I think, now that this is a standing item, setting up the short-term and long-term goals, and like Commissioner Penala suggested, let's phase in these things so that the general public, the voting public, can comprehend it and participate, in the process. And we're not just coming up with these ideas and implementing it without their input. Okay. Move on then to new business. Item A, the Council of Government Ethics Law Annual Conference.
We went to the conference. It was Ana Ramirez, who does campaign finance, myself, and legal counsel Vince Camacho. Our report is there on page 27.
Okay, any questions or comments from the commissioners?
I'm going to give you a hard time on this, Maria. This report doesn't tell me anything. Okay, the value of having our commissioners and our executive director and staff go on these programs, part of the value is they have to come back and educate the board. And this doesn't educate me. So this is just like, I don't know anything about what this was about after reading this that I didn't know before. So there were several of you there. Somebody's got to take the discipline to really, write a paper on it. It should be several pages long and tell us what the issues are and pros and cons. It doesn't have to be a book, but it's got to be, and where are the handouts? Yeah, okay?
Yeah.
So I just don't think we're getting, I just don't think that the purpose of these trips is being realized if we don't, if the information is not imparted to the board.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, just to add along that, I read through it. It's informative to a certain extent. I think what we're looking for, I may be speaking out of turn here, but what benefit does the commission, what does the benefit the people of Guam get from this course? This is very important stuff here when you talk about campaign finance and litigation. So if you give us the meat of it, I'm not wanting a 40-page report. I'm looking forward to the Reader's Digest version. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for any of these off-island trips is coming back with not only a summary report, but recommendations to implement what we learned from the conference or meetings, and then what we would potentially recommend to implement here. then you're getting value of that trip. So I think that should be just a standing rule for us when we go off island.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we allow the executive director to, redo the trip report and get back to us in the next meeting. We're not going to solve that all tonight, by the way.
Okay,
Will do, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Pat.
very good point. Yeah. Okay, let's move on then to item B, U.S. Election Assistance Commission visit, and I'd like to give a half-a-day welcome to Tom Hicks, and I'll have Maria introduce Tom in more detail, but he is the one of the commissioners with the U.S. Election Assistance Commission and has graciously spent a good week. He arrived here last Friday, is leaving tomorrow morning, and he looked like we put him through the ringer here. But he's attended Catholic Mass, and he's not even a Catholic. Attended a funeral, attended a youth Congress swearing in. He visited many courtesy visits this past 2 days, including a visit to the northern island of Saipan, and to Saipan. So Maria, you want to add more to Tom's?
So I tried to get him to come here since 2015, but it took Commissioner Benny Pinalla and Commissioner Joe Mofnes in August of 2023 in Indianapolis to get Commissioner Hicks here. We wanted to show him the lay of the land. We wanted to share with him the uniqueness here and in the CNMI. And I think that we did. So did you want him to speak now?
Yes, if you, Tom, if you want to say a few words, that'll be on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been a wonderful visit, and it's been a wonderful visit, and I've learned a lot from meeting with the governor of both Guam and the Northern Marianas Islands, from meeting with members of the military, from meeting the university participants and acting presidents, to on and on, the mayors, the congressmen, and others. And so this has been a very fruitful trip for me. I will take my information back to my fellow commissioners and describe a few things for them. In listening to you earlier, I would also say, do not reinvent the wheel. We have a program called the Election Supporting Technology Evaluation Program, where we did a pilot this past year for e-poll books. Use us. Do not try to reinvent the wheel. It will save money. We've looked at 7 systems, including the no-ink system. And we are looking to do election night reporting and other aspects as well. And it won't cost you to do that. So again, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak. I'm enjoying my time and learning a lot, eating really well, gaining some of that weight back, and I want to thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
I'm sorry, where did you come in?
I am based in Washington, D.C., but the way that the stars aligned, I was in San Diego for a trip and said, I will jump over to Guam. So.
I was just in DC a couple of weeks ago. I always think of DC as being from the south. It was freezing. I would call the hotel or the people and say, I need another blanket. I was sleeping in a living room. Anyway,
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
welcome. Enjoy the warmth.
So the 20-some hours it took him to come here, I highly recommend it. I persuaded him to also go to CNMI. And so with us today, this evening, we have are the chairman of their commission, the Commonwealth Election Commission, Mr. Jesus Sablan. He's been on their commission for 17 years and been the chair for the last 7 years. And so he's visited us in the past. Next to him is Mr. AJ Uka. He's the administrative officer. And next to him is my counterpart, Kayla Igato. And she's laughing because every time we're together, she works really hard, just like Mr. Tom Hicks. So
Okay, thank you and welcome. Welcome again. It's good to have visitors sit across the room here. We've had meetings where it's just the staff. But welcome again, Tom, and hope you'll come back and visit us again soon. So, any further comments on that?
Mr. Chairman, just a real quick comment. I would like to also thank Commissioner Hicks for coming out. Since he's arrived, I haven't stopped talking to him and seeking his guidance and also providing him information as well. And he's been very receptive. And thank you again, Mr. Hicks. We really, really appreciate you being here. Also want to thank our counterparts in CNMI. We were able and fortunate enough to go over there and listen to some of their issues. It was very impressive to find out that they have about a 70% voter turnout. Yeah, so I'm like, wow, Guam can learn from you guys. And again, great hospitality from our brothers and sisters in the Northern Marianas. And so thank you very much.
Yes. Commissioner Joe?
Yeah, I'd just like to echo what Benny has just said. Thank you, Mr. Hick, for showing up. When I received that email, Maria sent me that, I said, oh, wow, so he's really coming. So Ben and I have been discussing this matter, and thank you for that. And you really put us in a position where we can start working a little bit harder for, modernizing our, all that stuff. And also for fellow neighbor here, the Northern Marianas, it was really an interesting trip when we had all this bang, bang, bang deal, right? You might not believe this, but checking in at 11:30 in the evening at a hotel is almost another day, right? And that's how busy we are. The schedule that we had should be really 2 days, but we make it happen, and it was a really, really, really interesting thing that we did. And so although we had a little bit of, you still have your heart there, Kayla? No, it was it happened, and I was on the passenger side, and this guy came out, and we almost hit the guy on that dam. And, there was a rock construction there, and I feel sorry for Caleb because he was the driver. Let me tell you. Boy, commissioner from Guam and commissioner, from Northern Marianas hitting a guy, that's something else to be looking at.
no, we didn't hit the guy. The guy hit the car.
But still,
Seriously, the guy, we were,
No, he was going out. The body hit but still, if something happened really there, we're going to be giving up with Jerry here to bail us out in Saipan. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, just also to share one more last thing. So if you ever get a chance, go into the Marianas Variety. There is a posting of us in the Marianas Variety with the CNMI legislature. So maybe you can share that link to Maria. Thank you.
All right, thank you again. Okay, let's move on to item C, under new business, the competitive grant application.
the deadline was Monday, their Tuesday, our Monday, November 18th. We submitted a grant application for the Help America Vote College program. I requested for $85,000. There's only $1 million in the bank for it, but we'll see how they dish it out. We should be hearing from them soon. We submitted it on time. This grant that I applied for is to help I'm going to teach the election administrations class at the university, and most of the grant funds will go towards helping the students pay for the tuition, and also part of it will be to update our videos, our training videos, our 8 training videos.
All right. Any comments, questions on that?
Just a real quick question, Maria, is this a competitive grant or is this a formula grant?
It says competitive, sir.
It's competitive. Yeah. Okay, let's go to item D, the FY '25.
Already,
budget
sir, we
request.
talked
We've
about
covered
it, that I will give you the final one for approval at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, let's go to legal counsel's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. In regards to the case Guam Society of Obstetrics and Gynecologists et al. Versus Attorney Doug Moylan et al. This case is still in the briefing stages. We haven't heard any new information regarding oral argument, but once we receive that information, we'll certainly disseminate it to the commission.
Okay, any questions, comments? It's ongoing. Okay, let's move to public participation, public comments. Any public comments? We'll go then to the next meeting, which will be January 18th. Any issues with that? That's,
Mr. Chair, may I go back and ask for the 4 commissioners? The candidate packets are going to be available starting January 2nd.
yeah.
Would you want to stay status quo and not make it yet available on the website? Or would you want me to announce that it's going to be available on the website? It hasn't been available in the website, and I think the most voice, the loudest voice we always heard was Kin Paris. Let them come in and sign, if you remember. Yeah. So that's what we've done in the past, sir. We leave it here. We don't require anything except for them to sign it and they'll pick it up. We don't ask for IDs. But then what we do is we publish the names that pick up the packets as they are picked up on our website. The media take a look at that, and that's where we go.
Mr. Chairman, I agree. I think that they should be coming in and it should be recorded as to who picked up packets. That way it gives GEC ample amount of time to prepare, as well as, you know, the information in terms of who's picking it up.
I mean, couldn't we, if it was available on the website, isn't there a way to make it secure so that when they do sign, pick up that packet through the website, that somebody signs for it? Works the same way? I just think it's such an inconvenience for somebody to walk in here just to pick up a candidate packet when it should be available online in a secured format, and they can still sign in. And so we still know who's picking it up.
Yes, it's possible to do that.
I mean, if we're moving to modernizing, let's start with a website and let's get these things available, even if we have to secure it through a secure format.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. If it is secured, then yes,
Yeah.
I'm for, you know, putting it on the website.
Because I get the idea of who signs in, so we have an idea of who's potentially going to run, but you could do that electronically as well.
Yeah, before we do that, just one, I know that he mentioned that it's possible. Is there a way that, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that maybe on our next meeting or even before that, can really give us heads up or really what this is going to happen or not?
Maybe give us a brief of how it's going to work, so that a potential candidate knows how to. So Jack is the IT staff, and then he's putting this together.
I'm a little concerned the IT guy is having trouble with the microphone here. Wait a minute.
Battery.
Wasn't me. So if you're just talking about having it available on the website so that people can go onto the website and then they'll have to put down like their name, and then after that they can download the forms, that's basically how it would work, and I could set that up by the 2nd.
How would you be able to verify the name? Because if I go in and I put Donald Duck, would you be able to determine?
Mr. Chair, even when they sign in, Commissioner Benny, we don't check their IDs. It's the same. We don't check their IDs when they come in.
From a security point of view, are we worried about anything about these packets at the pickup stage?
It's public information, so,
Okay.
you know, anybody can pick up a packet, whether physically or electronically. We just want to know who's picking them up for the purpose of determining who may potentially run. That's it.
But I also think it's important in terms of like financial disclosure. If you're picking up a packet and you put your name on there, we expect to see some financials from you. And because we know you picked up a packet, right? As opposed
But
to.
I think that'll be after someone becomes a
Yeah.
candidate, yeah.
It would be definitely after, but
Yeah.
again, for our purposes, you know, we just want to make sure that we're in compliance with the law.
This one, I know where my Commissioner Ben is coming about the financial disclosure, but, you know, and I know there's a timeline when a person pick up a packet for an individual that's gonna run. Now, picking up that packet, he might not run, but, you know, so these are the things that we need to look at. So I guess when they pick up their packets, how many days, Maria, does the person has to accept that he's gonna be a candidate?
It won't be until time for ratification. So it'd be just right before
Before the-
you're ratifying.
Yeah.
With regard to financial disclosures, those come in later when they file.
Yeah.
So you know, it's our staff that verify and validate that they've submitted all the documents. You know, like Jack said, the same process that we want, that the commissioners in the past is to know who's running, and Jack is assuring us, all of us, that we can take those names down. And again, even when they come in, we don't check their IDs. I think one thing to remember is that the media like to look at it, and for the candidates that run, it's good for them, because then the media contact them and get that free public relations.
Yeah. Yes, Commissioner Mafnas.
The other issue also is that, I know Jack is working on this, but, you know, this is just for me, really. I just need to know the number between website or online, whatever, and coming in personally and picking it up. Either an increase or decrease, whatever. I just want to see the difference between online and actually coming in and picking it up. Is that possible?
The number of folks picking up the
Yeah,
packet? Yes, he
okay.
can track that.
All right. I just want to make sure to see, what's the difference there.
Yeah, I mean, once we have this online, if they still have to sign in, I think more potential candidates will pick it up online, because it's
Yeah.
simpler.
In the past, we set up a standard practice where the commissioners get notified on a daily basis who
Yeah.
picks up.
All right.
One more, Mr. Chair. Before we went into the online subject, you mentioned about picking up the package, so do we want to make that into a motion also to put online there, or what?
We want to make sure that it's the consent, we have it on record that it's the consensus of the commissioners that you
make
want,
it
because
available both.
it's a big change as far as the process goes.
Okay. So we want to entertain a motion to have the candidate packet be available online as well as physically, with the requirement that they also sign in online.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move a motion to allow for candidate packets to be posted online and available to potential candidates, that they'll be able to download it, and that if they choose to, they can also come into the commission and pick up a packet.
Okay, so there's a motion by Commissioner Penal. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Second by Commissioner Joe Maflas. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, so we'll have it available online, and you'll work on the formatting of the sign-up. I don't think our problem is going to be lack of candidates. It's voter participation. But we'll address that. Yeah, so the next meeting is January 18th?
Yes.
Okay. At 5:30 here at the commission office. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting until
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
January
move a
18th?
motion to adjourn until January 18, 2024.
Okay, motion second by Commissioner Joe. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the meeting of the Guam Election Commission is adjourned until January 18th at 5:30 here at the Guam Election Commission Conference Room in Tamuning, Guam. Thank you.